We also are highlighting some keynote speakers today, including Benton Learning. And I am so impressed that Benton Learning, one, they got here from New York, and two, the teens woke up this morning. Yes! Yes. And they are here, and they are led by their executive director and co-founder, Desmond, who discovered yoga in 1995. And she's been a dedicated student ever since. In 2001, she got the idea for Benton Learning. And they have been teaching in New York City public schools. They were one of the first. They've been going strong. And she's brought with her some of her students as well to help share what they have been doing. So I'd like to give a warm welcome to Anne and her students from Benton Learning.
Good morning. Thank you, Michelle, for that introduction. Now I don't have to say anything about myself. We are here from Brooklyn, New York, with 4 high school students and their teacher, Marissa. And I invited them to join us this weekend because I feel like they are the perfect example of what we want to see happen with many of the programs that that we're all bringing to children. And so we started Benton Learning 15 years ago. It was a very small volunteer effort, and now we're still a small organization, but teach about 3,000 kids every year. And now what's happening is Marissa took our teacher training program 3 years ago. She came to us as a math teacher, and she convinced her principal to switch to be the school yoga teacher. So she started the yoga program in her high school, and she's going to tell us how she convinced her principal to make that switch, because math is very important. And maybe you can also talk to us, why it was so important to you to make that switch.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I was a math teacher in New York City for about 7 years before I started teaching yoga at Northside. And throughout that time, I just always felt like there was a little piece of education that was missing in the students' lives that we weren't hitting with math and science and English and social studies. And, it took a little while to figure out that it was, the yoga and mindfulness piece that was missing. So even while I was teaching at Northside, teaching math, we would do some breathing before tests and some stretching, in the morning. And if kids were getting sluggish, I'd make them get out of their seats and move a little bit. But 5 minutes here and there just wasn't really doing it. So after taking the Benton Learning training, I was literally in the principal's office every day after a weekend of training, just saying, you can't believe all the things that I learned and how much we need this for our students. And, just the realization that the students in my school are dealing with so much more than just a little bit of test anxiety. That's not, if that was the only thing that was going on in their lives, then 5 minutes of breathing before a test would be perfectly fine. But the truth is that it's not. Even just getting to school in the morning is, traumatic for some people. Coming from hours away, waking up before the sun rises, taking the New York City subway, and then walking from the subway to school. It's just crazy, and anyone who lives in, a commuter city would know that. So I just literally every Monday morning, I was in the principal's office saying, we need this, we have to have it. I have the training. How can we work it out? And I don't know. I think maybe they just got sick of me asking. And eventually, it took a while because I had to convince all the conversations we're having. How can we get the kids to get better test scores? How can we get the kids to, have less times where they're in the dean's office, et cetera, et cetera. Not that these guys were any big problems to begin with, but And the answer was yoga. The answer was always yoga. We have to have this program. And so eventually it just sort of started sinking in, and then I was told, all right, you got it. We're going to do this. So now I am teaching about 100 kids a day, every day for an hour for a semester of school, and hopefully more. So thank you.
So I'm going to, ladies first. So when you answer the question, I'm going to call your name, but just if you could reintroduce yourself and what grade you're in before you answer the question, that would be great. So Brianna, could you share with us if you have any thoughts of how your experiences were or your life before yoga and then after yoga?
Sure. Well, like said, my name is Brianna Peters. I'm currently a junior at Northside Charter High School. And how I would say before having yoga, well, we actually call it mindful movement, which is amazing. And school and life before yoga was intense, very intense. Me personally, I wasn't the type of person that is willing to open up or willing to let anybody know about my personal issues or calm down myself on my own. That just wasn't the case. But I was always the outgoing one, but never personally liked to share. However, after yoga and after having the class, it has changed me tremendously, and I couldn't be more thankful to Ms. Lipovsky for this class. For example, one big obstacle that I was able to overcome was losing a really close family member. That was like really hard on me, and I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't feel that no one could help me with it, and truthfully, I didn't think yoga was gonna do anything about it, so I was like, yeah, okay, we'll leave that to the side. But knowing and actually participating, yoga actually helps me to talk about it, because I can honestly say without the class, I wouldn't be able to talk about it right now. I wouldn't be able to give advice to other students and help other students take in yoga as much as I did. So I really appreciate the class, and it has helped me tremendously.
And can you just give us a little description of what specifically about yoga that you found so helpful?
The poses. I love the poses. My favorite pose actually is child's pose, and I just become so centered with the pose as one. The bending and just stretching your arms in front makes me really want to like grab something or grab anything that I want to achieve, and just being centered with myself just helps me like be a whole and just be me. And I like that.
We'll go right down the line. Can you share with us what yoga means to you and maybe how you use it in school?
Sure. Your name? My name is Cody Richardson. I'm currently a junior at Northside too. Wait, what was the question?
Just what your experience of yoga is and how maybe you use it in school.
My experience of yoga is, like, at first, I wasn't really into it. I was like, why don't I have gym? And then, yeah, so at first, I was just like, I ain't really like it until we started getting into, like, the challenges poses. Yeah, I really like those. And then in school, I use it, like, before I do a test or if I'm facing a problem, like in math, because I'm not really good with math. So at first, I usually just calm myself down and use breathing techniques, or maybe, like, I'll probably go in the back of the classroom and maybe do, like, a sun salute. Maybe not try to look crazy. And then at home, sometimes I still do sun salutes in the morning just to, like, stretch out my body and just wake myself up.
Thank you. And Yvel, can you share with us what yoga was like before school and how you feel about it now? Or what school was like before yoga?
Okay. Well, my name is Yvel Manuel, and I'm a junior too in Northside Charter High School. And life before yoga and school, it was like a routine to me. Like, I wake up, do my daily routines, go to school, do the classwork they gave me, take a test, and after I go back home and wake up and do the thing all over again. But with yoga, it brought something new to the plate. Like, I had yoga 4th period, and it was like new to me because you had to go to class, take off your shoes, change, and like sit down with your legs crossed and wait for like the teacher to start. And then I was like, this is weird. And then over the time, I started to like it because it made me feel better. Because I had Latin 5th period, and Latin is like a stressful language. And like before I start class, yoga like made me free. Like it made my body release, and like I just breathe before the class starts and the test. Oh my gosh. Latin test. So every 5 minutes before a Latin test, I breathe. After that, I clear my mind, and then I just start, and I just like know stuff, but like I didn't even know.
So we got our minute warning. So Nick, very quickly, if you could share with us your that pivotal moment when you realized that yoga is beneficial to you, and then you're gonna close with our ritual of gratitude after you answer the question. Thanks.
All right. It all started when I first tried yoga at home with my little brothers. I have 3 of them, so it's really stressful. Like, my mom and dad used to tell me, oh, help them with their homework while we're out. And they would never listen to me, so it was like hard. I was stressed out. Before yoga, I used to get aggravated at them like quickly, but then after yoga, I would like try to breathe in, breathe out to release the stress, and then I actually now get along better with my little brothers, which is good. Yeah, and then that's when I realized like yoga could really help me to become a better person, and it could also help me physically and mentally. Yeah.
Thank you. So we end every Bent on Learning class with a ritual of gratitude, so I asked Nick if he would share that with all of you today.
All right, I would like everybody to stand. All right, place your hands over your heart. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and think of something that you're grateful for. All right. Would anybody like to share what they're grateful for? No? Thank you. Anybody else would like to share? Yes.
I'm grateful for the opportunity that we got to speak. I'm actually really nervous, but I think we did a good job.
And one more? Yes? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is good.